So this is the daf for April 1st, 2025. We're in Sanhedrin 105. At the end of 104, it says, Gilead is mine and Manasseh is mine. This is referring to Ahav, who fell in Ramoth Gilead. Manasseh, in its plain meaning, is referring to King Manasseh. Ephraim also is the strength of my head. This is referring to Jeroboam, who comes from the tribe of Ephraim. Judah is my scepter. This is referring to Achitophel, who comes from, and that we're in 105 now, who comes from the tribe of Yehudah. Moab is my washing pot. This is referring to Gehazi, who was afflicted with leprosy over matters of washing, as he took money from Naaman, who he instructed to immerse in the Jordan. Over Edom I will cast my shoe. This is referring to Doeg the Edomite. Philistia, cry aloud. He throw ye because of me. This is referring to the fact that the ministering angel said before the Holy One, blessed be he, Rabbonu Shalom, Master of the universe, if David, who killed the Philistine and bequeathed the city of Gath to your sons, will come and complain to you, gave a share in the world to come to his enemies, Doeg and Achitophel, what will you do concerning him? Will you accept his complaint? God said to the ministering angels, it is upon me to render David and his enemies friends, Ra'im, with each other, and even David will agree. With regard to the verse, quote, why is the people of Yerushalayim slid back in perpetual backsliding? Jeremiah 8:5. Rav says, the congregation of Israel answered with a convincing response to the prophet. The prophet said to the Jewish people, repent as your ancestors sinned. And where are they? They said to the prophets, and your prophets who did not sin, where are they? They too died, as it is stated, quote, your fathers, where are they? And the prophets, do they live forever? Zechariah 1:5. The prophet said to the Jewish people, your ancestors reconsidered and conceded that the admonitions of the prophets were fulfilled, as it is stated, quote, by my words and my statutes, which I commanded my servants, the prophets. Did they not overtake your fathers? And they repented and said, as the Lord of hosts intends to do to us, according to our ways and according to our doings, so has he dealt with us. Zechariah 1:6. Shmuel says that this was a convincing answer. 10 people came and sat before the prophet Ezekiel. He said to them, repent. They said to Ezekiel, in the case of a slave sold by his owner to another master, or a woman divorced by her husband, does this person have any claim upon that person? Since God gave the Jewish people to the other masters, the ties that existed between him and us were severed. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to the prophet, go say to them, where is your mother's scroll of severance with which I sent her away? Or to which of my creditors have I sold you? For your iniquities you sold yourselves, and your transgressions as your mother sent away. Isaiah 50, verse 1. Learn from this that God did not sever his ties to the Jewish people. And that is what Reish Lakish says. What is the meaning of that which is written, David my slave? 2 Samuel 3:18. Well, it says Abdi, so slave or servant, right? And Nebuchadnezzar, my slave, or my servant, Jeremiah 43:10. How can the wicked Nebuchadnezzar be depicted as a slave of God in the same manner that David was depicted? Rather, it is revealed and known before the one who spoke and the world came into being that the Jewish people are destined to say that God sold them to the nations and they no longer have ties to him. Therefore, the Holy One, blessed be he, preemptively called Nebuchadnezzar his slave. With regard to the halacha concerning a slave who acquires property, the slave belongs to whom and the property belongs to whom? Question mark. They both belong to the master. In this case, the Holy One, blessed be he. With regard to the verse, and what comes into your mind shall never come to be, that you say, we will be like the nations, like the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. As I live, says the Lord God, surely with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm and with wrath poured out, I will rule over you. Ezekiel 20, verses 32 and 33. Rav Nachman says, let the merciful one be wrathful at us with all that wrath and redeem us. With regard to the verse, in chastise and judgment, his God will instruct him. Isaiah 28:26. Rabbi Bar Bachana says that the prophet said to the Jewish people, repent. They said to him, we cannot, since the evil inclination dominates us. We said to them, chastise your inclinations. And they said to him, his God will instruct him. That is, God should instruct the evil inclination to allow us to overcome him, as we are incapable of doing so on our own. The Mishnah teaches the four prominent commoners, Balaam, Doeg, Ahitophel, and Gehazi have no share in the world to come. The Gemara elaborates the name Balaam is interpreted as a contraction of Balaam, one who has no share in the world to come with the Jewish nation. Alternatively, the name Balaam is interpreted as one who wore down the Jewish people, or Balaam. He is the son of Beor, one who engaged in bestiality, or Be'ir. It is taught in Braita, he is Beor, father of Balaam. He is Kushan Rishathaim. He is the Lavan. He is the Lavan the Aramean. He was called Beor because he engaged in bestiality. He was called Kushan Rishathaim because he performed two evil deeds. Rishiot to the Jewish people, and during the time of one during the time of Jacob when he pursued him intending to kill him, and one during the time when the judges judged. And what was his actual name? His name was Lavan the Aramean. It is written, son of Beor, Numbers 22 verse 5. And it is written elsewhere, his son Beor, Numbers 24 verse 3. Rabbi Yochanan says, in resolving the apparent contradiction, Balaam's father was his son in terms of prophecy, as Balaam was a much greater prophet. The Gemara infers from this Mishnah, Balaam is the one who does not come into the world to come, but other Gentiles come into the world to come, whose opinion is expressed in the Mishnah. It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehoshua, as it is taught in Braita, that Rabbi Eliezer says it is written, the wicked shall be turned back to the netherworld, all the nations that forget God. Psalms 9 verse 18. The wicked shall be turned back to the netherworld. These are the sinners of the Jewish people. As only the sinners are sentenced in the netherworld, all the Gentiles that forget God, these are the sinners of the Gentiles. From the fact that it is written, all the Gentiles, it is apparent that none of the Gentiles have a share in the world to come. This is the statement of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yehoshua said to him, but is it stated in the verse that the sinners of the Jewish people will be like all the Gentiles? It is stated only, all the Gentiles that forget God. Rather, the wicked shall be turned back to the netherworld. And who are they? They are all the Gentiles that forget God. Gentiles who fear God do have a share in the world to come. And that wicked person, Balaam, also provided a sign with regard to himself. He said, let me die the death of the righteous, and let my end be like his. Numbers 23 verse 10. If I die the death of the righteous by natural causes, I will go to my people. Numbers 24:14. That is, my fate will be that of the rest of the wicked people in my generation, who have no share in the world to come. With regard to the verse, and the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian set out with their divinations in their hands, and they came to Balaam. Numbers 22 verse 7. It was taught in a Braita, Midian and Moab had previously never had peace between them, and they were always at war with each other. What led them to make peace at that time? There is a parable of two dogs that were with the flock, and they were hostile to one another. A wolf came and attacked one, and the other one said, if I do not help him, today he kills him, and tomorrow he comes to attack me. They both went and killed the wolf. Moab and Midian joined together to face the potential common threat, the Jewish people. Rav Papa says that this is in accordance with the adage that people say a weasel or a kar kushta and a cat made a wedding from the fat of the luckless. Despite their hatred of one another, they joined together for their mutual benefit at the expense of a third party. It is written, and the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Numbers 22 verse 8. The Gemara asked, into where did the princes of Midian, who accompanied the princes of Moab, go? The Gemara answers, once Balaam said to them, lodge here this night, and I will bring you word when the Lord speaks to me. Numbers 22 verse 8. The elders of Midian said, if he seeks permission from the Lord, he will not join us. As is there any father who hates his son? Certainly the Lord will help the Jewish people. Rabbi Nachman says, impotence is effective toward heaven. How so? Initially it is written that God said to Balaam, you shall not go with them. Numbers 22 verse 12. And ultimately after Balaam persisted and asked, it is written, quote, rise up and go with them. Numbers 22 verse 20. Rav Sheshet says, impotence is monarchy without a crown, as it is an assertion of leadership and lacks only the official coronation of a king, as it is written, and I am this day weak, though anointed king. These men, the sons of Zeruiah, are too hard for me. 2 Kings 3:39. The sons of Zeruiah, due to their impotence, were as formidable as David himself. Rabbi Yochanan says, Balaam was disabled in one of his legs, as it is stated concerning him, and he went limping, or Shephi, Numbers 23, verse 3. Samson was disabled in both his legs, as it is stated with regard to Samson, who was from the tribe of Dan. And the prophetic blessing of Jacob, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder, or a shephiphon, in the path that bites the horse's heels. Numbers 49:17. Rabbi Yochanan interprets shephiphon as the plural of shephi, indicating disability in both legs. Balaam was blind in one of his eyes, as it is stated, whose eye is open. Numbers 24, verse 3. Indicating that one eye was open and the other was blind. The Gemara relates, Balaam was a diviner using the organ between his legs. It is written here, fallen yet with opened eyes, Numbers 24, verse 4, and it is written there, quote, and Haman had fallen upon the divan whereupon Esther was, Esther 7:8, indicating that the verb fallen has sexual connotations. It was stated that there is an amoric dispute with regard to this matter. Mar Zutra says Balaam was a diviner by using the organ between his legs, whereas Mar, son of Ravina, says he engaged in bestiality with his donkey. One who says that he was a diviner using his organ drives it as we stated. The one who says that he engaged in bestiality with his donkey drives it as follows. It is written here, quote, he crouched, he lay down. Numbers 24, verse 9. And it is written there, quote, between her legs he sunk, he fell, he lay. Judges 5:27, which is interpreted as a reference to intercourse between Sisera and Yael. Balaam described himself, quote, and he knows the knowledge of the Most High, Numbers 24:16. And the Gemara asks, now if the knowledge of his animal he did not know, is it possible that the knowledge of the Most High he knew? The Gemara explains, what is the meaning of the knowledge of his animal? The princes accompanied him and said, what is the reason that you did not ride horses? Balaam said to them, I brought the horses to graze in the pasture and rest there. The donkey said to him, am I not your donkey? Numbers 22:30. Balaam said to the donkey, merely for burdens, not for riding. The donkey said to him, upon which you have ridden. Numbers 22:30. Balaam said to the donkey, what was mere happenstance is not a regular occurrence. The donkey said to him, your whole life until this day. So I just want to point out, so they're trying to, the one opinion was that he divines using his donkey. And that is pretty obvious in the text if you see the story of his donkey speaking to him, because a lot of times people just read that and they think, oh, some miracle happened. But he was a diviner, and so you see in that case that he was using the creature to obtain spiritual information. But anyway, I'll continue. The donkey continued, moreover, I perform a conjugal act for you, and you engage in bestiality at night. And from where is this derived? It is written here, quote, was I ever wont, or hashken, he shkanti, to do so to you? Numbers 22:30. And it is written there with regard to Abishag the Shunammite, and let her be a companion, or shohenet, to him. 1 Kings 1:2. Just as the root samach kaf nun indicates relations in the case of Abishag, the same is true with regard to the donkey. Balaam was unable to best his donkey in a debate. The Gemara asks, rather, what then is the meaning of the phrase, quote, and he knows knowledge of the Most High? Is it possible that he knew the knowledge of the Most High? Rather, he would know to determine the moment during which the Holy One, blessed be he, is angry. He would curse at that moment, and the curse was effective. And that is what the prophet said to Israel. My nation, remember what Balak, king of Moab, advised, and how Balaam, son of Beor, responded from Shittim to Gilgal, so that you may know the righteous acts of the Lord. Micha 6:5. What is the meaning of the phrase, so that you may know the righteous acts of the Lord? The Holy One, blessed be he, said to Israel, Know how many acts of kindness I performed on your behalf, that I did not become angry during all the days of Balaam the wicked. As I became angry during all those days, no remnant or refugee would have remained among the enemies of Israel. The euphemism for Israel itself. Instead, God restrained his anger, and Balaam's curse went unfulfilled. I also want to point out the word for donkey or hamor is related to the word for like materialism. It kind of represents materialism. So like you think of other diviners, they have objects that they use that are wealthy, material objects that they use that have great wealth that they use to divine things. But in the case of Balaam, he was using like the symbol of all wealth, and well, materialism more or less. So, but I'll continue. This is what Balaam said to Balak: How can I curse? How can I curse whom God has not cursed? And how can I condemn whom God has not condemned? Numbers 23, verse 8. Since God did not become angry, Balaam was unable to curse the Jewish people. It is written, and God is angry every day. Psalms 7:12. And how long is the duration of his wrath? It is one moment, as it is stated, for his anger endures but a moment. His favor is for a lifetime. Psalms 30, verse 6. If you wish, say instead this proof from another source, as it is stated, Come, my people, enter into your chambers and shut your doors about you. Hide yourself for a brief moment until the anger passes, Isaiah 26:20, meaning that God's anger passes in a mere moment. And when is the Holy One, blessed be he, angry? It is during the first 3 hours of the day, when the crest of the rooster is white from the sun. So I don't know if you've had roosters, you'll notice, if you've ever been around roosters, sometimes their comb gets white. It's typically red or some other color like that, but there's a certain point when the color on their comb changes, and that's the same thing actually with turkeys as well. The Gemara challenges, each and every hour of the day the rooster's crest is also white, as it does not always remain red. The Gemara explains, the difference is that during each and every hour when the rooster stands that way, there are red streaks in his crest, but at the moment when God is angry, there are no red streaks in the rooster's crest. So it's interesting to say no red streaks in it, because that's actually, you can tell the mood sometimes of a rooster or a turkey or something like that based on that, watching their comb or the skin color of it. The Gemara relates, there was a certain heretic who was in Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi's neighborhood who would upset him by incessantly challenging the legitimacy of biblical verses. One day, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi took a rooster and tied it by its legs and sat and waited. He said, when that moment of God's wrath arrives, I will curse him. When that moment of God's wrath arrived, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi dozed off. When he awakened, he said, conclude from the fact that I dozed off that it is not proper to curse even the wicked, as it is written. Punishment, even for the righteous, is not good. Even with regard to heretics, a righteous person should not state a curse in order to punish them. Explaining the cause of God's anger, it was taught in a Braita in the name of Rabbi Meir. When the sun rises and the kings place their crowns on their heads and bow down to the sun, the Holy One, blessed be he, immediately grows angry. Since this occurs in the early hours of every day, God becomes angry at his world at that time every day. And all the more so if this is something that God doesn't want the righteous to be engaged in. Just, consider that. So it is stated, and Balaam arose in the morning and saddled his donkey, Numbers 22:21. It was taught in Braita in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Love negates the standard conduct of those of prominence. This is derived from Avraham, as it is written, and Avraham arose early in the morning and saddled his donkey. Genesis 22, verse 3. Atypically, he saddled the donkey himself and did not wait for his servants. Likewise, hatred negates the standard conduct of those of prominence. This is derived from Balaam, as it is stated. Balaam arose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, Numbers 22:21. So what's the difference here? Rav Yehuda says that Rav says a person should always engage in Torah study and performance of a mitzvah, even if he does not do so for their own sake, as through engaging in them not for their own sake, he will ultimately come to engage in them for their own sake. Proof for this can be cited from the example of Balak as in reward for the 42 offerings that Balak sacrificed. Even though he sacrificed them to facilitate the destruction of the Jewish people, he was privileged, and Ruth descended from him. Rabbi Yehoshua Rabbi Yoshi Bar Huna says Ruth was the daughter of Eglon, the son of Balak, king of Moab. Apropos Ruth, matriarch of the Davidic line, the Gemara cites that which Rava said to Rabba Bar Mari. It is written that the servants of David said to David, "May God make the name of Solomon better than your name, and make his throne greater than your throne." 1 Kings 1:47. Rava asked, "Is it proper to speak to a king in that manner and say that his son will be greater than he is?" Rabba Bar Mari said to Rava, she said to him, "May the throne of Solomon be the nature of your throne." He explains, "As if you do not say so and do not explain it in this manner, then the verse, 'Blessed above women, Yael, wife of Hever the Kenite, blessed is she more than the women,' or Minashim in the tent." Judges 5:24. It is difficult. The women in the tent, quote, the women in the tent, who are they? They are Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. Is it proper conduct to speak in that manner about the matriarchs? Rather, the nature of the matriarchs is what the verse says, not greater. So too in the case of David's servants, of the nature of his throne is what the verse says. The Gemara notes, this explanation disagrees with the opinion of Rav Yoshi Bar Honi, as Rav Yoshi Bar Honi says, a person is jealous of everyone except for his son and his student. Since their success reflects well upon him, he celebrates their success. The fact that one is not jealous of his son is derived from King David's servants telling him, "May Solomon be greater than he is." And the fact that one is not jealous of his student, if you wish, say that is derived from that which Elisha said to Elijah, "I pray you that a double portion of your spirit be upon me." 2 Kings 2:9. He asked of his mentor to be greater than he, indicating that it is not an objectionable manner. And if you wish, say instead that it is derived from Moses. He lay his hands upon him and commanded him, Numbers 27:23. God commanded Moshe to lay only one hand upon Joshua. Instead, he laid both hands upon him with all his strength. With regard to the verse, quote, "And the Lord placed a matter in Balaam's mouth," Numbers 23, verse 5. Rabbi Elazar says it was an angel that spoke from his mouth. Rabbi Yonatan says it was a hook placed in his mouth to prevent him from saying anything else. Rabbi Yochanan says from the blessing of that wicked person, Balaam, you can ascertain that it was in his heart. God transformed the curses that he planned into blessings. He sought to say that they should not have synagogues and study halls, and he said instead, "How goodly are your tents, Yaakov." Numbers 24 verse 5. A blessing on their synagogues. He sought to say that the divine presence, or the Shekhinah, will not rest upon them, and he said instead, "In your dwellings, Mishkanot Yisrael." He sought to say that the kingdom of Israel would not continue, but he said instead that it would continue, like the winding brooks, Numbers 24 verse 6, which flow continuously. He sought to say that they would have no olive trees and vineyards, and he said instead, quote, like gardens by the river's side, Numbers 24 verse 6. He sought to say that their fragrance would not diffuse from their fulfillment of mitzvot, and he instead said, quote, like aloes that the Lord has planted, Numbers 24 verse 6. He sought to say that they would not have kings of stature, and he said instead, quote, like cedar trees beside the waters, Numbers 24 verse 6. He sought to say that they will not have a king, the son of a king, and he instead said, quote, water shall flow from his branches, Numbers 24 verse 7. He sought to say their kingdom would not rule over the nations, and he said instead, quote, and his seed shall be in many waters, Numbers 24 verse 7. He sought to say that their kingdom would not be fierce, and instead he said, quote, and his king shall be higher than Agag. He sought to say that there will be no fear in their kingdom, and he said instead, quote, and his kingdom shall be exalted, Numbers 24 verse 7. Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana says, all of the blessings ultimately reverted to be fulfilled as the curse that he originally intended, as all of those circumstances befell the Jewish people, except for the destruction of the synagogues and study halls, as it is stated, quote, and the Lord your God transformed the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loved you, Deuteronomy 23, verse 6. A curse, in the singular, not curses, in the plural, was transformed permanently. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani says that Rabbi Yonatan says, what is the meaning of that which is written? Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are importunate. Proverbs 27 verse 6. Better is the curse that Ahijah Hashiloni cursed the Jewish people than the blessing that Balaam the wicked blessed them. Ahijah Hashiloni cursed Israel with a reed, as it is stated, for the Lord shall smite Israel as a reed is shaken in water. 1 Kings 14:15. There is an aspect of blessing in the curse, as he was saying they will be just like a reed that stands in a place near water as the water sustains, and its stalk replenishes. And that is the end of 105. So thank you. We are actually very close to the end. The end is Daf 113. So a little over a week left. So thank you for staying this long with me. Have a great day.